It's an air horn, bro. What? Cruise ship horn. Bring that beat back. Wait. I got voice effects. Check this out.
Bring that beat back.
Run it back, Philly.
Run it back, Philly's in the building.
My bad. I was trying to turn it off. Yeah! Run it back, Nation. What is good?
Run it back, Philly's in the building.
Yeah. Yo, that was crazy. I never used that before, man. That was fire. Check it out. Yeah, Run It Back Philly. What is good? It is your boy DJ Eastwood. Run It Back Philly. No frauds, no fanboys.
No intros.
Don't let me get good at that, man. I'm going to start hitting that thing way too much. Drop the T. Yeah. Let's get it. Let's get some hot tea up in here. 124 people in the stream. Everybody do your boy a favor and hit the like button. Close out the chat real quick. Hit the like button. Give me 124 likes. That is how we get this show through the tricky YouTube algorithm to get more and more people in the stream. Yeah. What I gotta say before we get into the business, man. New merch store, runitbackphillyshop.com. Brand new t-shirts coming out, brand new snapbacks coming out, brand new mugs, whatever else you guys want. I can print out crop top hoodies for your girlfriend or for you if you want to wear a crop hoodie. I don't know. I'm just saying. runitbackphillyshop.com is a new merch store that we just launched 2 days ago. There's definitely some things I want to say. What are you guys doing in the chat? Let's hang out with the chat first before I give you my opinion on some things. You got to respect the Boston Celtics. What is everyone's thoughts if Harden goes nuts? It ain't happening, bro. The last time he went crazy is because he had 12 days of rest. It just ain't happening. It just ain't happening. Yo, DJ was good. Lucci, comedic effect use only. T-Gang. Yeah. Shout out to everybody in here. Why can't I scroll? All right. Shout out to everybody, man. We got a lot of people in here so far. Let me get right down to business. My guy Martin Santiago popping it off with the super chat. Martin, your name's been on the bottom right of the screen there for a while. Thank you for supporting the channel as always. To be a Philadelphia 1776ers fan, not easy. Not easy at all. Sixers down 2-1. Did DJ Eastwood overreact after game 3? No, he did not. It was on the money. It was probably 100% accurate. My predictions for this series are probably 100% accurate. Let's just be real. And it is what it is. A lot of people were in the comments and telling me I'm overreacting or whatever, but those people clearly have never watched a 76ers playoff series before. I was saying yesterday is a must win. Not yesterday, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, whatever it was. I was saying last game is a must win because if you lose that game, you go down 2-1. They're done. And it's not really about because, 7-game series. Well, what if they win the next 3 in a row? What if they, people kept hitting me up with that. How can game 3 be a must win if they win game 4? Then it's 2-2 because the way they've been losing these games. You know what I mean? Game 1. Yeah, James Harden went nuclear, saved us from ourselves, and it has still had to drop 45 points and hit a game-winning step-back 3 for us to win that game. And then 2 and 3, we did basically defensively the same thing we did in game 1, which is, just not rotate enough on the perimeter, let the Boston Celtics get up 51 three-pointers, on and on and on. And the Celtics have shooters. They're not going to miss when they're wide open. It is what it is. So I was just saying, if you didn't change what you looked like in game 1 and 2 defensively on the perimeter in game 3, it's over. And they didn't change what they looked like in game 3. They looked exactly the same, and that's why they lost. You got an MVP performance from Joel Embiid. Hopefully you get another one of those today at 3:30. Sixers, Celtics. We'll be on Playback TV, playback.tv/runitbackphilly. Be there. Crushed another one. We had 178 viewers in there last game. We're looking for 200. We're trying to get to the 200 marks. Playback.tv/runitbackphilly. Join us if you're not already. Ghost, name of the club James was at yesterday. Hopefully it was that club in Vegas. Hopefully that's where he was at. Hopefully he was at that club in Vegas. But, I woke up feeling good today. Not about the Sixers, but just about life in general. We're alive. We're healthy. We're in a... we're living in an age where, life could be a lot worse. So you wake up and you realize, listen, I'm alive. I'm alive. I got another chance at this. Let's go do it. That's how I'm feeling today. About the Sixers, not so much, but about life in general, I'm feeling good. So I'm a little bit positive right now. Okay, I'm a little bit positive, and I think the positive energy could possibly wear off a little bit on the Sixers. My positive energy could possibly wear onto, do whatever. Could maybe bring good fortune, okay? The universe is about energy. So today, even though I really think the Sixers are done, today we're going with positive energy. One more game, we're going with positive energy, okay? If they lose this one and go down 3-1 and then have to go to Boston, we know what's happening. One more game, we're having positive energy. for the Sixers to be able to turn this around. Now, how can the Sixers turn it around? That's the biggest question. Because you look at what James looked like in Game 1 and what he looked like in 2 and 3. You look at what Tyrese Maxey has looked like this whole series. You look at how you played Game 1 without Joel, and then he came back and you lost 2 in a row. And you know what the box score watchers and just the people that are looking for a negative angle to go at Joel are going to say about that. The question is, how can they turn it around? And I have the answer for you, and that's why I'm wearing the 1996 rookie Allen Iverson jersey. The only player on this team that can change this series is Tyrese Maxey. The only player on this team that can change this series is Tyrese Maxey. Tyrese Maxey said after last game, they had a film session. Doc Rivers and everybody had a conversation with him about the way that he's playing, about him not being aggressive, about him playing passive, standing in the corner, not coming to get the ball, not having that killer mentality, not having that I'm the man, I'm a big-time scorer on this team, I need to be this, I need to be that. So I'm hoping that meeting and that film study with Tyrese Maxey is going to help him come into this game and be aggressive from start to finish. Now, first of all, before I get into how Tyrese Maxey can change what's going on with his game and affect this series, because and I think Tyrese is the only player that can affect it, because Tobias Harris is Tobias Harris, Houdini Harris, it's what he is. He's going to stay that way. James Harden, he had 12 days of rest and he looked like his old self, but as soon as he had to come back on 48 hours rest, it was over. James looks like he has no burst. He has no lift at the rim. I don't even know what to say anymore. Joel Embiid came back. The second game he came back, he gave you an MVP level performance. And I think he's going to do that today. I think he's going to do that even more so today. The only thing that's wrong with Joel Embiid currently is his conditioning, because he sat for 2 weeks. But really what I'm saying is, you know what you're going to get from Embiid. I basically think that I know what I'm going to get from Embiid. I kind of know what I'm going to get from Harden. Hopefully it's more around a 15 or 17 and 10 game or a 20 and 10 game, but I kind of know what I'm going to get from Harden. I know what I'm going to get from Tobias Harris, which is nothing in the second round of the playoffs. The only player that I really think can change the way he's been playing in this series and ultimately change the course of this series is Tyrese Maxey. And they had that meeting, and I'm hoping that puts Tyrese Maxey in a little bit different of a mindset. To me, it's like this with Tyrese Maxey. If you've played basketball your whole life like I have, you've been in situations. I've had many games where I just wasn't feeling it. Wasn't myself. Didn't feel effective. Didn't feel like, some days I felt like I was the best player on the court, and some days I felt like I was completely ineffective. And I remember this one guy one time that I was playing with on the park, and he was like, "You need to do something. You're the one that makes things happen." And when I had somebody like that get me out of my own head, overthinking the game, when I had somebody like that remind me, like, you just gotta go make something happen. You gotta attack, and then good things come around that. That's what I think Tyrese Maxey has to do. I think Tyrese Maxey's standing on the perimeter, overthinking the game entirely. He's looking at the entire defense, and here's the mistake you make as a player, as a young player on the perimeter in a basketball game. You overthink the whole game. You look at the defense, and you try to pre-plan what you're going to do. I think that's a major mistake for a basketball player. Not letting the game come to them, trying to look at the defense and kind of overthink and plan what you're about to do. And in my experience, and of course I was nowhere near the level of these guys, but I'm just saying, in my experience playing ball, anytime I just made a move, just attack, bro, and then go from there and let your instincts take over. You can't look at the game and say, okay, I'm going to dribble right, I'm going to split the defense here, then I'm going to cross over left and drop a dime to the cutting. You can't do that. That's all just instinctual things when you're on a court. You got to just turn your brain off, make a move, and let those instincts take over. So I think that's definitely what Tyrese Maxey has been doing, which is just overthinking the game, trying to kind of plan out what he's going to do. And then guess what? The defense can plan out what you're going to do also. Your energy moves forward. You give off this, everybody can kind of tell you're planning what you're going to do, and they can kind of plan what you're going to do. It becomes predictable. So I think he needs to turn his mind off and just attack and let instinct take over. That's what I think. Now, to the Tyrese Maxey haters. Let me sip my tea before I give this tea. To the Tyrese Maxey haters. He's 22 years old. He wasn't he wasn't a consensus number one overall pick. Nobody was talking about Tyrese Maxey as a superstar. Nobody was saying 3 years ago, you got to draft Tyrese Maxey at number 21 in the first round so that he can lead your team to the Eastern Conference Championship in his third season. Nobody was saying that. He was just a player that was drafted late in the first round, and we'll see what he turns into, right? He had 29% three-point percentage in college. He had certain things that people were saying about him. He can't do this, he can't do that. We'll draft him here. We'll see what he turns into. Year one, he shoots 30%. Year two, he makes a major leap and becomes a top 5 three-point shooter in the entire NBA. And that's when we started saying, wait a minute, this kid could be a major scorer on this team. This kid could seriously contribute. This kid could be a star in 3, 4, 5 years. So it's still not fair to sit here and look at a 22-year-old player who didn't have those expectations coming in, who's improving every single year, and say, you need to lead us to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's what the Harden fans that keep coming at me, they keep saying, why don't you say the same thing about Tyrese Maxey? Tyrese Maxey is not a 10-time All-Star that we made a major trade for to try to put next to Joel Embiid to say we finally have a star next to Embiid to get it done. The expectation shouldn't be there for Tyrese Maxey. I'm saying it's not fair to expect it, but I'm also saying it's possible for him to do it, and he's the only person that I think can really change the way he's playing in this series and change the course of this series. But I don't think it's fair to look at a 22-year-old player and say, you need to step up and lead us to the Eastern Conference. I mean, that's ridiculous. If you're expecting a 22-year-old player to lead you to an NBA championship, that's like me taking a road trip. And it's hour 9, right? I'm tired. My eyes are shutting slowly. I'm driving. If I fall asleep driving, whole family's going off a bridge, bro. What am I going to do? I turn and look at the back seat, and I expect my 8-year-old son to drive the car and finish the road trip. That's what we're talking about here. Come on, man. Maybe that's not the best analogy because I think Tyrese Maxey can do that. I don't think my 8-year-old son could do that. We would be screwed. I'd be better off driving asleep than trying to make that happen. But you know what I'm saying. You're expecting something that's probably not going to work with a 22-year-old player. Now, let me show you something. Speaking of players in their third year, okay? Because I just want to put something into perspective. That's all I'm here to do. I'm here to just put things into perspective and let you do with it what you want. Where's there it is. Now look. Tyrese Maxey in year 3, okay? Tyrese Maxey stats. Tyrese Maxey career stats. Tyrese Maxey career stats. Okay? Year 3, Tyrese Maxey, 20.3 points per game, 2.9 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 48 from the field, 43.4% from three-point range. The kid's in his third year and averaged 20 points per game. And people are telling me, because of what they're seeing in a playoff series, that he doesn't have the potential to be a star. I'm sorry, but I can't predict the future, and you can't either. Now let me show you something. Let's go James Harden, career stats. James Harden, in his third season in the NBA, averaged 16.8 points per game, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 43% from the floor, 39% from 3, and nobody at that time thought that James Harden, coming off the bench in OKC, would go to Houston and become a 10-time All-Star, certified NBA superstar, one of the greatest players to ever play in the game, one of the greatest scorers to ever play in the game. Nobody was seeing him come off the bench in OKC in his third year, averaging 16 points per game, and say that dude's going to be one of the best players to ever play the game. He's going to be an absolute superstar. A couple of people might have been saying it. Daryl Morey thought it. And Daryl Morey made the trade. And James became a superstar. But my point is, if James Harden, in 31 minutes per game, was averaging 16.8 points per game in his third season, Tyrese Maxey, in his third season, at 33 minutes, was averaging 20 points per game. There's just no reason to think that Tyrese can't go on in the next 5 years and become a star because of what he's doing in his third NBA season. You just can't look at somebody's third NBA season and assess their career. Steph Curry, career stats. Steph Curry's third NBA season, 14.7 points per game in 28 minutes, okay? Tyrese played 32 minutes this year. 4 more minutes for Tyrese. Either way, were people looking at Steph Curry in his third year, averaging 15 points per game and saying, this dude's going to go on to be the greatest shooter to ever touch a basketball? No. You're not in your prime when you're 22. You can't predict the future. That's all I wanted to say. Tyrese Maxey has the potential to be a star. Don't let what he's doing in a playoff series in his third year skew your the way that you look at it. And, people are just such a prisoner of the moment, man. You see a bad playoff series from a 22-year-old kid and you say, this kid stinks. He's never going to be a star. Come on, man. But I honestly think Tyrese Maxey can affect this series a lot more than he has in the first 3 games. And it starts today. He's the only player that I have faith in that can change the course of this series. Joel Embiid can give you an MVP performance at center, but at the end of the day, it's a center. If there's nobody on the perimeter doing something elite, they can just triple team him and it's over. That's also why it's not fair to compare, Joel Embiid to players that play the game on the perimeter, because you can't triple team a James Harden in his prime. You can't triple team a Kobe Bryant in his prime. Or you could, and he had Shaq, and vice versa. Shaq had Kobe. You know what I mean? Actually, we could look at it like Michael Jordan, his first 4 years in the league, getting swept in the first round by the Detroit Pistons. He didn't have anybody on his team. He was averaging 35 points per game in those series, Michael Jordan, in 1986, 87, 88. Who else was on the squad to help him out? Nobody. The Detroit Pistons were sending the whole team at him. And there was haters back then. Don't forget. Jordan can't get out of the first round. Oh, Nike wants to sell a shoe. Everybody thinks this dude's a superstar. He can't even get out of the first round. He got swept by the Pistons. He'll never be this. He'll never be that. Oh, Scottie Pippen comes over. Oh, you trade for Dennis Rodman. Oh, you got Tony Kukoc. You got Steve Kerr. You got Ron Harper. You got Grant, what's his name, man? Grant. I forget. Horace Grant. But either way, I'm not saying Jordan's not the greatest ever. Everybody needs a team, bro. Everybody needs a team. It's a 5-man game. I got a little bit off topic there, man. Colin, thank you for the super chat. Loving Sixers +2. What's your thoughts? Love listening. You're taking the Sixers at a +2. Second game at home, down 2-1. Couple of bad performances, couple of really bad shooting performances, couple of really bad defensive perimeter performances. I do think the Sixers win this game. I do. So I think that's a solid bet for you, man. I do think the Sixers win this game. I think that's a solid bet for you at +2. to what else we got? A. Here we go. A. You know how A feels about Tyrese Maxey. A says Trae Young was only 22 when he went to the Eastern Conference Finals. Trae Young was also expected to be that good as soon as he came in the league. Trae Young was traded straight up for Luka Doncic at the third pick in the draft. And if the Suns didn't take DeAndre Ayton and the Kings didn't take, who was it up there, man? I forget how that draft went. But Trae Young, Luka Doncic, he was in one of the top 3 players that should have been number 1 overall at the time. That's what I'm saying about Tyrese Maxey. He wasn't a unanimous number 1 overall pick. Nobody expected him to lead a team. Then we saw the potential and we said this kid could grow into something. But it's not like you took him at the top of the draft and expected him to do something in year 3, man. I just really don't think that. I just really don't think that. But shout out to A, man. Thanks for being a member of the channel and thanks for always supporting. You know what I mean? Wesley Stone, this team goes as far as Joel Embiid takes them. Wesley Stone, bro. Glad to see you're still sticking around, my man. Glad to see you're still sticking around. For those that don't know about Wesley Stone, you want me to do this, Wesley? You really want me to do this at 12:29 on a Sunday? Do you really want me to do this, Wesley? Joel Embiid is one player. He's a center. If the team can triple team him in the paint, the game's over. We need elite players on the perimeter. Wesley Stone, for 3 years, was in my YouTube comments telling me that I was being too hard on Ben Simmons, and it's not Ben Simmons' fault, and Joel Embiid is the reason Ben Simmons is playing like this, and Ben just doesn't fit with Joel. You're going to see when Ben leaves Philly, he's going to be a superstar. He's going to start shooting threes, and he's going to come back, and he's going to crush Philly, and Ben Simmons this, and Ben Simmons that. Now you want to come back around, Wesley? Now you want to come back around? You've been a certified Joel Embiid hater from day one because for some reason you are the biggest Ben Simmons fanboy on the planet. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. Thanks for the content, Wesley. Thank you. 377 in here, man. Let's keep it going. Look, I got some more things. I got some more things to go through here, man. I commend Wesley Stone. He constantly came back and never took anything personal. I've been roasting him for years. So shout out to him for, having tough skin and being able to do sports talk while being just absolutely wrong all the time, dude. All the time. Let's see. Doc Rivers needs to make some adjustments. Well, we know that's not going to happen. I do think that Doc Rivers needs to make some adjustments with what's happening with his team. And I don't think it's going to happen. But one of the biggest issues with the Sixers team, really the whole year, is the combination of PJ Tucker and Tobias Harris next to Joel Embiid. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's what we've been trying the whole year. You have a power forward, I guess, in PJ Tucker, who's 6'5", and at this point in his career can't really give you anything on the offensive end. He's a fighter, he's a hustler, he's a hard worker, he's a dog mentality guy, but he's 6'5" out here trying to get rebounds in the NBA. Come on, bro. Come on. You combine that with Tobias Harris, who's what is he? A stretch 4, but he's not really a high volume 3-point shooter. And you're moving him to the small forward position where I think it's just not good. He lacks effort on the perimeter defensively. He lacks effort in boxing out and getting rebounds. And I just think those two guys together are a bad combination, and they're a bad combination alongside Joel. Joel has to guard the paint and then has to try to come out on the pick and rolls and step out to the perimeter around ball screens. And you got two other guys that aren't fast enough to really rotate and guard the perimeter. That's why these teams are getting so many wide open threes. The combination of Tobias and PJ Tucker being paired next to Joel Embiid is not good. It's not good. You need more athletes who can rebound and rotate and get out to the perimeter. If I'm Doc Rivers, I'm going crazy today. If I'm Doc Rivers, I'm going nuts today. And I'm starting Daniel House Jr. as small forward and Paul Reed at power forward. If I'm Doc Rivers, I'm putting Tobias Harris and PJ Tucker on the bench. I'm getting all kinds of crazy if I'm Doc Rivers today. But that ain't happening. It's just not happening. We're going to run the same lineups. We're going to run the Tobias Harris, PJ Tucker lineups. And you're probably going to give up 1 million threes. You're probably going to give up 1 million second chance points and offensive rebounds and everything else like that. You can't actually expect Doc Rivers to change the lineups that much. I do want to see some Daniel House Jr. I do want to see Shake Milton. If Tyrese Maxey's struggling, if James Harden's struggling, you got to try something else. James was 2 for 17. He was killing you. He was hurting you way more than helping you at all. By the time the fourth quarter came around, the script was written. It was over unless you changed something, and we didn't change anything. There's a play where James and Joel run the pick and roll. Joel's asking him for the ball back, and James drives and takes a bad floater attempt and or does a step back three and shanks it off the side of the rim or something. And you could see Joel's body language that he was annoyed that he didn't get the ball back. I don't know, man. I don't know. People are telling me James is going to turn it around and have some kind of amazing performance and he's going to shut me up. Listen, I hope that happens. I'm a Sixers fan. I want the Sixers to win. That's what I want. But I don't see that happening from James Harden at this point. I just don't. And Kyle Cap, thanks for the super chat. How many points did Okafor, Fultz, Noel, and Simmons combine for last game for us? How many points did Okafor, Fultz, Noel, and Simmons combine for last game for us? I'm gonna be totally honest with you, Kyle. I have no idea what you mean by that. I don't know what you're trying to say. I have no clue. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. Thank you for the super chat, but I have no idea what that means. 400 people in here, only 96 likes. I need you to close out the chat and hit the like button. Couple more things, man. Couple more things. How has Tobias Harris not been moved to the bench yet? How has Tobias Harris gone this whole season without being moved to the bench? Does anybody even say anything to Tobias Harris? Has Tobias Harris been granted immunity? I feel like it's an episode of Survivor, you know, and at the end of the show, I don't know if you guys ever saw that show, but at the end of the show, every episode, you vote someone off the island, and there's a token of immunity, so you can't be voted off. I feel like somehow, some way, Tobias Harris has the token of immunity. He just never gets voted off the island. You're telling me this guy can show up and give you 7 points in 35 minutes in a pivotal playoff game. Nobody says a word to Tobias Harris. Nobody. And nobody cares anymore. He's getting $40 million a year. He's the highest paid player on the team. And everybody's accepted that he's trash and nobody cares anymore. But they won't even take him out of the starting lineup. What has Tobias Harris done to be granted immunity? I don't get it. When Tyrese Maxey was struggling after coming back from a foot injury, Doc Rivers moved him to the bench. And that didn't work out so well for the team or for Tyrese Maxey's production or confidence. But he got moved to the bench. They said, hey, you're struggling. We're going to try to switch things up here, give you some kind of different energy, give you some kind of different lineups, and see if you can come out of this funk that you're in. Why doesn't that happen with Tobias Harris? Why can this guy consistently disappear in big-time games, and he never gets moved to the bench? Did Tobias get moved to the bench in any of the years under Brett Brown? Anybody? Tobias has been underperforming his contract the whole damn length of the contract and is just getting away with it. And I don't think Tobias Harris is a superstar. I don't think he has the skill level to be a superstar. It's not that pisses me off with Tobias Harris, bro. It's the lack of effort this guy shows. It's the lack of effort. He gets beat in transition. There's a spider on my ceiling right in front of my face. Holy hell. Scared the hell out of me. He gets beat in transition. He gets beat on the boards. He doesn't box out. He doesn't rotate. He doesn't fly out to the perimeter to try to get a hand up on the three-point shots. How does he have a token of immunity? I don't understand it. Tobias is killing you right now. Put him on the bench. But it's not going to happen. It's absolutely not going to happen. 405 people in here, man. Shout out to everybody in here. Kyle said that last message was sarcasm for the inept drafting. My bad, bro. I never know if somebody's coming at me or not. I was in defense mode after Wesley Stone's comment, so I was in defense mode. Yeah, we suck at drafting. We absolutely suck at drafting. I was telling my girlfriend, Run It Back Queen, I don't know if she's in the chat. Sometimes she comes through the chat when I'm live. I was telling her just a couple days ago that I lost my train of thought. What was I telling her? What was I telling you? I'm kidding. You don't have to answer that. Yeah, I was telling her how bad the Sixers were at drafting. Oh, I was explaining to her what the Sam Hinkie thing. I was saying I want Sam Hinkie to ring the bell. She's like, who the hell's Sam Hinkie? And I explained to her he's the GM that tanked the team, that tried to get to the top of the draft year after year and get some superstars and turn the fortune of the franchise around. But I was like, but we missed on almost every draft pick. What did we have? We were at the top of the draft for what, 5 years? And we drafted Joel Embiid with the hurt foot. We knew he was going to be out for 2 years. But for some reason, right after that, we drafted Nerlens Noel. Or was Nerlens first? No, Nerlens was first. We traded Drew Holiday for the pick, and we drafted Nerlens Noel. Then we drafted Joel Embiid. Now you got two centers. So if Joel gets healthy, he's coming back. What are you doing with Nerlens? Sam was always like, we're just going to draft the best player, and then we'll figure it out later. Well, you can't figure it out later because then the player, Nerlens Noel, it becomes clear that he doesn't have that much value because you know what happened. They tried to trade him then, and they couldn't get anything for him. But anyway, you drafted Nerlens Noel, Jahlil Okafor, Ben Simmons, Markelle Fultz. Holy hell. Holy hell, you were at the top of the draft 5 times. And you got one. You got one star out of it. And I said to her, I was like, did you know the Oklahoma City Thunder, back-to-back-to-back years, drafted Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden? In 3 years, they drafted 3 of the best players ever. Now, that's very rare to do that. But you would think in 5 years, the Sixers could hit on one more. They couldn't. They couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. Taz Journey, who do we have to replace Tobias? I mean, what do you mean by replace Tobias? You put a different player in his spot. You play Paul Reed at the 4, you bring Tobias off the bench, or you play Jalen McDaniels at the 3 and PJ Tucker at the 4, you bring Tobias off the bench. You play Daniel House Jr. at the 3 and Tucker at the 4 and bring Tobias off the bench. You do something. You do something else. I mean, it's not like Tobias is giving you anything. And then you have to look to your bench and say, what player can I put in that's going to give us that level of... He's not giving you anything. He's giving you 7 points. You put a player in his spot that you think could probably give you more than 7 points in 35 minutes and a couple rebounds. I'm being serious. I'm being dead serious, man. Shout out to Bravo Carlos for being a member for 13 months. I appreciate you, my man. Thanks for being a member of the channel for 13 months. And another super chat here. Rob R. James Mark Henry Harden needs to make some shots or the Sixers are done. It's win or bust. He puts a possible $200 million contract on the line by sucking. Yeah. James Harden's legacy is on the line right now. James Harden's legacy is on the line today. Today, James Harden's legacy is on the line. James Harden today can either prove to everybody in the NBA that he can help lead a team through a playoff series. I mean, he's done it a couple of times. But at this point in his career, at 33, 34 years old, James Harden, today, he either proves that at this age, he can still play at a high enough level to help a team win a playoff series. Or he proves that the stigma the media has put on him for a long time, playoff choker, his regular season stats are this, and then when the playoffs come around and he's not getting the calls, here's what happens. He proves then that maybe they were right. Does James Harden care? That's what I want to know. Does James Harden care? I'm going to be honest with you guys right now. I don't think he does. I don't think he cares. James Harden has made $200 million in the NBA. He will have made $200 million from Adidas. And he likes to party. Now you tell me, if you like to party and you like to hang out with rappers and rich celebrities and live that lifestyle, and you made $500 million, somebody said, well, you could stop all the partying, you could stop the lifestyle, you could lock in, you could get dedicated to your physical fitness and your conditioning, and you could be good for 3 more years and get 200 more. Or you can stop right now and just go continue to live that life and live the rest of your life in the strip club and have a great time. He already made enough money to live on for 50 lifetimes. I don't think he cares that much. If he did care that much, he would be more locked in. He wouldn't look the way that he looks right now. He looked great on 14 days rest. The only way you're going to get more out of James is if we get another 14 days rest. It's just my honest opinion, man. It's just my honest opinion. If he comes out today and drops a 35 banger and leads the Sixers to victory, I would be ecstatic to be wrong about that. I would be ecstatic to be wrong about that. Now I want to speaking of James Harden, and if there's any super James Harden fans in here that don't want to hear anything negative, I just advise you to, step away. Step away while we're ahead here. Don't even do it to yourself. Don't even do it to yourself. Just step away and, save yourself this. Look at this for a second. Let me get this off the screen, man. The Harden files, folks. The Harden interior numbers are worse than you thought. James Harden hasn't dunked the ball in a game since October 24th against the Pacers. Harden lost his ability to elevate, and it's showing up in the numbers. Harden is now shooting 14 for 50 in the paint, 28% this postseason. That would be the worst field goal percentage in the paint in a single postseason over the last 25 years. He's now shooting 11 for 38 on dunks and layups, 29%. That would be the worst field goal percentage out of 538 players that have attempted at least 30 layups over the last 10 years. James Harden right now is literally shooting worse percentages at the rim than any player in the last 10 to 25 years. At the rim in the last 10 years. In the paint in general in the last 25 years. How can we defend this stuff? How can anybody sit up here and defend this? He's just not good anymore. He doesn't have the athleticism he used to have. And it's over. What makes you think in 48 hours James Harden is going to change what you see on this paper right here? I'm sorry. It's done. James Harden opts out of his last year or works a sign and trade or something after this season. We're looking at a second playoff run in a row where James Harden completely looked washed. We're looking at a second playoff year in a row where James Harden completely looks washed. It's just a fact. He looked horrendous last year in the playoffs. And this year, aside from one 45-point game on 12 days of rest, he looks horrendous. I don't know. I can only say the facts. I can only give you the numbers. That's all I can do. If we lose to the Celtics, I want James and Tobias gone, Alec B says. I think Tobias is gone no matter what, because the last year of that contract is going to finally get moved because it's an expiring contract and, somebody will take it. And at this point, you just can't, if the Sixers lose this series, you can't come back with Tobias Harris again. You just can't do it. The whole reason, that's why it shocks me that we've gone the entire length of his contract without working out some kind of trade. The Lakers figured out a way to trade Russell Westbrook. You're paying a guy 33% of the team's salary who's dropping 7 points in playoff games. Malcolm Brogdon and Derek White combined make less money than Tobias Harris. That's how a basketball team is built. You don't have a contract like that for a player that's not a superstar, and then you can spend that money on good high-level role players like Malcolm Brogdon or Derek White. The Sixers have been handicapped. They've been chained to a chair for 4 years because of that contract. They were almost chained to a chair because of the Ben Simmons one. They had two of the worst NBA contracts in history on the same team. So yeah, I think Tobias is out of here. And if they lose this series to the Celtics, I don't think James is coming back anyway if they lose this series. Because first of all, I don't think James wants to come back. I'm starting to think the James to Houston rumors that have been coming out lately are true. I'm starting to think there's some, where there's smoke, there's fire. He loves living in Houston. All his favorite friends are in Houston. And I think if he says, look, I'm going to play like 3 more years in the NBA, try to get another, 3-year, $30 million contract, whatever it is, I'm going to go to Houston. I don't think James is going to come back if they lose this series. But more so, it's going to be very difficult for James Harden to be accepted back here by the Philadelphia fan base if he has 2 playoffs showings, if he has 2 lackluster playoff showings and the Sixers lose in the second round again, it's going to be very difficult for the city of Philly to accept another season with James Harden on the team. I really think that. This city is going to be, if they lose this series, this city is going to be so anti-James Harden. It will almost be at the level of Ben Simmons. It will almost be at the level that this city was against Ben Simmons. I'm talking the T-shirts in the parking lot with the ball sack in his head. It will almost be at that level. This is not the city of brotherly love. It's not. It's not. And people that don't understand that have never been around the city of Philadelphia. If they lose this series and James Harden continues to play the way that he's been playing, aside from that one miraculous 45-point game, he's 5 for 28 since then. If he continues to play like this and they lose this series, the city of Philadelphia is going to hate James Harden. He's going to have to go somewhere. I'm serious. I'm just up here to keep it a buck like a dollar store. That's why I'm here, man. Shout out to everybody in here. 490. Give me 490 likes, man. Let's go. Sixers at 330. I got faith in one guy. His name's Tyrese Maxey. That's why I'm wearing the Iverson jersey. Doc likes him. Well, Doc's on. If they lose, same thing with Doc. If the Sixers lose in the second round for the third year under Doc Rivers, if Doc Rivers hasn't done more than Brett Brown in 3 years, he's gone. The city's over it. The city hated Doc Rivers. The city hated Doc Rivers year one. They hated Doc Rivers day one when he sat up in a press conference and said, I don't think Ben Simmons needs to shoot the ball. You guys are idiots. Everyone in the media is idiots. The people asking me questions are idiots. All of the fans that hate Ben Simmons are idiots. You guys are stupid. I'm the smartest person in the room. I'm the smartest person in the history of basketball. I am on the level of Greg Popovich. You're all idiots. The city hated Doc Rivers from day one. They lost in the playoffs, second round. Year two, they lose in the playoffs, second round. He hates Paul Reed. The whole fan base is like, why won't you play Paul Reed? We're not going to go on a Paul Reed victory tour. I've never seen a coach be so anti-young player in my entire life watching this game. And now year three, oh, we were right about Ben Simmons. We were right about Paul Reed. Oh, we were right about Tyrese Maxey. Oh, it seems like the fans are starting to know more than this guy. And you think if they lose in the second round this year, that spider is, what are you doing, bro? You want to be on the show? You think if they lose in the second round this year, this city is going to welcome Doc Rivers back? And I know Josh Harris and his billionaire friends are only in it for the profit. And the only way owners consider making major changes is when the profits start to go like this. It's not like they care about basketball. Why would they? They purchased an investment. They bought the Sixers for $500 million. It's worth $2 billion. They made their money. As an investor, when the ship starts to look like it's going to sink, to quote the old man in Boondock Saints, you make like a tree and get the fuck out. Scott O'Neal sold his shares, bro. He's out. Reuben Foster sold his shares, bro. He's out. Two of the guys that were majority owners already left. They saw this ship going down. The only way that they make major changes is if the ship starts sinking, the finances. And when the fan base is completely over, they were over it last year. But if they lose in the second round again, this fan base is done. I swear, bro, more than half of the season ticket holders are going to call this. I'm not re-ing up, bro. I'm not doing it. They're going to be begging people to re-up their season tickets. That's when major changes happen. When you see those season ticket orders and they're not coming in. Yeah. Thanks for helping me pass some time until this game. It's 1 o'clock. Game starts at 3:30. I'm nervous. Jacob, what's up, man? Thanks for the super chat. If I prefer our 2021 squad over this one we got. This was our best squad, not gonna lie. Ben or no Ben, we were really good that year. 2021. 2020, 2021. Is that the Seth Curry? No. Is that what we're talking about? No. Is that the year that Seth Curry averaged 20 in the playoffs because Ben Simmons was a fraud again and we needed a guard? We didn't have any guards. We didn't have a point guard. Tyrese Maxey and Shake Milton were coming off the bench. Seth Curry had to step up and average 20 points in the playoffs. You tanked for 3 years. You were at the top of the draft 5 times. And you were relying on Seth Curry in the playoffs. And the years before that, you were relying on J.J. Redick in the playoffs. I'm not saying this team's better, because once again, who's out there? Who's on the perimeter? Wesley Stone dropping another super chat just to hate on Joel Embiid. Why do stars suck next to Joel Embiid? What stars? What stars are we talking about? What stars are we talking about? Wesley, what stars are we talking about? Is James Harden a star right now? Is Tyrese Maxey a star right now? I don't know what stars we're talking about. The only star that's been next to Joel Embiid is Jimmy Butler, and he was great. A said, let Harden get his legacy contract from Houston. Absolutely. But, we'll see what happens, man. We will see what happens. What else? Let's just check the news. Let's go to see if we got any updates on Sixers Twitter, any shoot-around videos or something like that. What we got here, man? Let's see. My dude Sean Bernard. Today's the most important game of the Joel Embiid era. We're going to learn a lot about what this team is made of today. Losing this basically ends the series, and this will likely have some significant repercussions. Today is the most important Sixers game of the Joel Embiid era. Woo! In 2.5 hours. We're about to watch the most important game in the Joel Embiid era. Man, this is crazy. This is crazy. You're a sick individual if you think the Sixers are bouncing back with a win today. Well, that's not what I wanted to hear. James Harden set 2022 semifinals game 4. Hey, this is what he did last year in game 4 before we inevitably lost in the second round. But he dropped 31 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds. He made 6 3-pointers, and he led the way for the Sixers to tie the series against the Miami Heat. Will history repeat itself today? I hope so. I hope so. I hope everything I've just said about James Harden for 3 days gets thrown right back in my face. You think I don't want this team to win? You think I don't want these players to play up to what I think? And you said he did nothing. What did he look like in the whole series? Do you want to go there? Do you want to go there? (2022) James Harden in the playoffs last year averaged 18 points per game. James Harden averaged 18 points per game in the playoffs last year. Playoff stats 2022. Show me by game. Why won't you show me by game? Playoff stats by game 2022. There we go. Last year in the playoffs, James Harden against the Miami Heat. He had a 16-point game. He had a 20-point game. He had a 17-point game. He had a 31-point game. And then when the series was tied 2-2, when they needed him the most, ladies and gentlemen, he dropped a whopping 14 points on 38% from the field and 33% from the three-point line with 4 turnovers. And then he dropped a whopping 11 points. 4 rebounds and 9 assists on 44% from the field and 4 more turnovers. He was a -29 and a -16 right after his big-time 31-point game. Come on, guys. You're making this too easy for me. This is too easy. I need a debate that maybe there's a small chance that I don't win. I need a debate that maybe there's a small chance. You're putting this on a silver platter for me. This is way too easy, man. Hamstring injury, okay. Cool. He's always hurt, and he's 33. He's done. So you're proving my point? He's done? We agree? We agree he's done? Okay. Anyway, yeah, I got nothing else, man. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming here. It is what it is. Sixers Celtics 3:30 game 4 playback TV playback.tv/runitbackphilly. Thank you all for hanging out. Thank you for tuning in. Hit the like button on your way out, even if you're so angry at the things that I'm saying about James Harden. It's just sports, man. It's just sports. Jacob, why can't we have a GM president like Brad Stevens that can build an amazing team, unlike Daryl Morey, who is super self-centered and only cares about Harden? That was Danny Ainge, actually, that built the Boston Celtics. Danny Ainge is the best GM of all time. He fleeced the Brooklyn Nets 2 times in the last 15 years and took all of their draft picks and absolutely left them gutted. He fleeced the Sixers in the Markelle Fultz trading up to number 1 because we'll just hang back and take Jason Tatum. He drafted Jaylen Brown way higher than anybody expected anyone to draft Jaylen Brown in the 2016 draft, 2 spots after Ben Simmons. He then said, my job here is done. Brad Stevens, I have groomed you. I have taught you the way. You can be the GM here. I'm going to go over to Utah and do this all again. And he went to Utah and he traded Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert for, count them, 9 first-round picks. Danny Ainge is a genius. I would just like, somebody a little bit better than like Billy King. Billy King couldn't put a team around Allen Iverson for 11 years. Then who was it? Sam Hinkie, Brian Colangelo, interim GM Brett Brown and Elton Brand. Now we got Daryl Morey. I mean, who's finally going to put a team around Joel? Or are we just going to give up and move on? I don't know. But today says a lot, man. Today says a lot. Bro, Daryl Morey literally fleeced the Nets. What are you talking about? How, bro? How? Yeah, you wanted to get rid of Ben. I agree with that. You gave up Seth. You gave up Andre Drummond. You gave up 2 future first-round picks, and you got a guy who didn't show up in the playoffs in year 1, and he's not showing up in the playoffs in year 2. So how exactly would you like to explain to me how he fleeced the Nets? That's all I got, man. You guys are the best. Run it back, Philly. Sixers at 3:30. Let's go.